Welcome to episode 13. We're back. We have a guest. Adam Trabold is on the show. It's Kat's boyfriend. So you're not going to want to miss this. He is a professor, a photographer, an AI art generator. This dude's nuts, and he's got a lot of cool things to say, and we learned a lot about photography history. So it's an awesome show. Don't miss it.
He's very divisive with many opinions.
Don't.
Okay.
There's something. Are we all suffering from like oxygen deprivation?
There's a gas leak.
I offered
gas leak.
I said I'd leave the door open. You guys wanted it shut.
That's okay. You know what? We're going to roll with this. Welcome to TRIFLIX Cast. We are professional videographers and photographers talking about the latest business practices, techniques, and tech with a little bit of fun sprinkled in. I'm Cole. I'm the producer around these parts.
I'm Tristan. I'm very festive, and I'm the director of creativity. Look how creative my Christmas sweater is.
If you're not watching and you're just listening, Tristan cut out different Christmas shapes and taped them on his shirt.
So I was wondering why they weren't falling off.
This is why you need to watch the actual YouTube version. So.
You're missing out.
I kind of forgot it was the Christmas episode.
There you go. Yep. And then to my left,
so David Baker. I'm the IT manager wearing a Snoopy shirt.
Boo! You wore it before.
Yeah, boo.
I don't.
Last
this
two
is the
episodes.
only one. Hey, these guys made me buy.
I would have made you a shirt.
He would have. He could have. Never offered.
Somehow, the three of us, we, in conjunction with a couple other people, we run a media company called TRIFLIX out of Columbus, Indiana.
Yep.
Somehow. Today's a special episode, okay? We have a guest with us. We got Adam Trabold.
Kat's boyfriend.
You threw it out there, sorry. Welcome, Adam.
We can censor it.
That's good. Thanks for having me on. I've never been on a podcast before, so this is the the champagne on the ship thing, right?
Oh,
this
yeah.
Is the first one.
This will be the
christening. There we go. That's the word.
This will be the least professional one you ever go on.
Yeah.
So it's perfect. It's perfect.
It's 100%.
You're going to go do the next one. You're going to show up and have none of the conversations we had previous to starting this episode.
Right.
Yeah. You'll understand how boring everybody else is compared to us.
Nah.
It's the truth, though. It's the truth.
Also, I realized if you wanted a different sweater, you can have one of mine.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, there's some sharing going on here.
He's sharing the love.
A little star.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, he's giving it to
I don't want
everybody.
one. I
Sharing
don't want
is
one.
caring.
Okay.
I'll put it on the side
Thank
of the
you.
headphones.
There we go.
There we
Our
go.
Christmas
Got a
theme.
couple stars and a Christmas tree.
Really sprucing up the set.
Yeah.
That's what we should have done.
Yeah. We could have put him like on the tiles.
Would have been great. He's stuck.
Oh, jeez.
So
is this?
I'm sure being Kat's boyfriend, which for those of you who are listening, Kat is an employee of ours, so it's kind of fun. I'm sure being as that is the case, you've probably listened to all of our podcast episodes.
Every single
so
one.
you're fully aware of how this works. I'm gonna put you on the spot.
Right. Yeah. I don't particularly listen to podcasts all that much. It's not really. I don't know. I just never got into it. You think after going through, the last couple of years, most people would probably have gotten into that by now.
That's
but
okay, man.
Yeah,
You're paving your own path. I appreciate that.
But she's shown me some of the episodes that y'all have done, and I've listened to them. I listened to her episode on the way up from Tennessee, so I got to that kind of gave me some form of an idea.
Got to hear about that drive-through romance.
Yeah, that
learning some things. Okay, I said none of that to say any of that. We like to start with a news story. This is no exception. I've got one today. I don't know if you guys looked at I think you looked at the outline previous to this. Did you see what it was called?
Nope, I didn't see anything.
Okay.
I avoided it intentionally.
Okay. So what I like to do is I'll give you a little preview, kind of like a title, and then you can kind of maybe guess what the story's about.
okay.
And hopefully you haven't heard the story yet, because it's actually kind of one of the larger ones. And
Ooh.
yeah, so Trump cards.
Yes.
Oh.
This is a hot topic in my house.
Oh, so you guys have already...
Oh, yeah.
Adam, have you
I have not. However, I can only imagine what
Fantastic.
it probably is.
Okay. So earlier this week, Trump decided that he was going to release a bunch of NFC trading cards of himself.
NFC?
Oh yeah, I did. I saw this a couple.
NFT.
Yeah,
NFT.
NFT.
Sorry.
NFC, you have to
You
tap
have to
your
tap.
phone.
Sorry. I'm so used to NFC.
Yeah.
I did.
This I actually use.
I did see that a couple days ago. I think. I think. Who was I watching? Philip DeFranco. That's who I was watching. He went over that. So
Yeah.
I don't like to get political on the show, and it's not really the reason I'm bringing it up, but I heard about it, and I was like, I don't even know what to do with this. Because I have not seen them, but they were explaining on this other podcast I was listening to, like what they look like, and the fact that he's like, it's like he's a Superman with a T on his chest and lasers coming out of his eyes.
they look wild, honestly. Philly D puts them on his video. I'm looking at these. I'm like,
How did he pay for him? How can he put him in the video?
bro, it's you just screenshot them, dude.
Who would've thought?
It's not rocket science.
But like,
Do you know each one's $100?
Yes.
jeez.
$99.99.
Yeah.
And wait, hold on though. It's not just $100. When you pay your $100, you get your NFT, and it automatically enters you in a chance to win, to meet him or have lunch with him or have a Zoom call.
I was
a
hoping
big Zoom call.
I was hoping to get to own like a brick of Trump Tower or something.
Engrave your name on it.
He doesn't. I have the photo here. It doesn't look like Superman. It looks like the dude from The Boys, the bad guy, right?
Oh, Homelander.
Homelander. He looks
Yeah.
like more like Homelander than Superman.
That's not a good
I have not-
connotation to have.
Lasers coming out of his eyes.
That looks way more Homelander, right?
Yeah,
So,
I mean,
I'm kind of into it though, because it's like Pokemon trading cards, but for like presidential candidates. It's like, I'm going to put down my Obama against.
Did you hear part of his?
Dude, I want
You
just
got a shiny Obama? Okay.
I got the gold foil. Obama.
Dude, I want like jacked, like just completely ripped George Washington shirtless fighting a bear or something.
Yeah, it was like, I got the Harry Truman.
He's just like obscenely actually hairy though. That's his power.
Yes.
He's just-
And then you can have like
When you said I was
supporting-
like Harry Truman, I got the Harry Truman. It sounds like you have a disease.
There's expansion packs, but it's like their board of directors that they appointed during the presidency to support your.
Oh, dude, those are like the assist cards. Like those, like the
It's
main,
Pokemon.
the presidents
Wow.
are the main cards, and then you have like the assist cards or whatever.
Yeah.
Like the
It's like Magic.
Magic
but
the Gathering.
presidential. There you go. Somebody can take that. That's
President the Gathering.
So he said, my favorite part of the whole announcement, he said specifically, like he made a video, of course, to promote these NFTs, and he was like, it's coming to Christmas time and you can buy the cards, it's a great Christmas gift. And he said, he's like, I'm better, he's like, we say the 45th president, he's like, I'm better than Washington, better than Lincoln. Like just went after, like, I was like, I just what plane is this person on? Because I can't even.
My wife was trying to comprehend it. She's like, who buys these? This has to be for money laundering. Dude, I was like, I know people that'll buy them.
People are buying these. I was thinking the same thing, because I was like, there's no way anybody will buy this. And then I thought about it longer, and I was like, no, people will buy this.
You should buy one for your grandma. She would like one.
Wow.
All right.
Didn't say which.
Sorry, Grandma.
I didn't say which one.
Outed.
I didn't say which one. We got
You got
grandmas.
at least two.
I do. I do have two.
That's good. That's
it's a
normal.
thoughtful gift.
They would both probably buy it.
Well, all right. You outed both of them.
We were already
But
going down
why?
that path.
Why? Whenever
Okay.
you could provide a great gift,
Dude, I would. I would never pay $100 for that.
I wouldn't pay for any NFT. Why?
Yeah.
Like it's not about politics. It's about the principle.
Yeah.
You don't. It's nothing you have. It's a Call of Duty skin, but at least that's usable.
At least you can pwn some noobs with one of those.
Well, that's the thing. If we turn it into trading cards, then
Yeah.
only
Then
then
it would be good.
Then would I purchase a presidential The Gathering?
Presidential gathering.
I like it because there's already tweets on this article that have likened it to that Pokemon / Magic the Gathering style cards.
It's like there's types.
So this one says it, but with modern political entities and events instead of monsters and land. Hold tournaments at rallies.
It's like, but like if they do it with like the types, because then you'd have like fire and water type, but it's like Republican, Democrat. But then you have like the rare ones, like the ghost types in Pokemon.
The Green Party.
You start getting in like Bull Moose and Green Party and like all these random, like very few candidates, but they're the special ones. The specials.
Somebody will do this.
I hope so. That's actually something I would buy as a gift, like $100 for a card game that you can kind of give as a goof present to a younger sibling or older family member.
Yes.
I don't know if they would get the reference though. Like I don't know if they like. You'd have to get someone that's nostalgia is in Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh. I don't know, Magic the Gathering, maybe D&D. I don't know.
Right.
Like there has to be some overlap.
No, I get it. It's
if we could get just like the old style like Yu-Gi-Oh cartoon, right? If we could get that with Trump v. Biden, I'd watch the hell out of that. That would be the funniest thing, right? And they're just they're just chucking Greta Thunberg onto the stage. We're just slinging
it's a screech
being
card.
Zodia is just the Supreme Court justices, right?
Dude, this is such a good idea for a video though. Like using one of the AI tools, either Stable Diffusion or if you did the face swapping or whatever within like how Corridor did with theirs, just like face swap, throw a president on there, throw it in 3D, and it's just like, all right, let's make a really crappy proof of concept anime.
Yeah, I was gonna say like an anime like based on United States politics, but like all the candidates are like superhero strength macho men. Just fighting each other in a ring. They're actually, like, this is a normal part of the presidential debate. Boom, 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 boom.
There kind of was something. The guy that made I think it was the guy that made South Park, Trey Parker. That
sounds like a
name. What about him?
Those two guys, I'm pretty sure the two that made the show started working with AI artists, like not buzzword AI, like actual deepfake artists. To do the Sassy Justice, where they deepfake Trump's face onto like a news reporter.
Oh yeah,
and
I think
like,
you're right.
It was like all kind of like parody news. So like, there's already kind of a precedent of like using presidential candidates with like AI and making story narratives. But it's like to have all of them, like all like just as like a anime protagonist and like just something a little more creative than just swapping faces.
Yeah.
Well, that's like we used Stable Diffusion to swap in Trump's face into the KFC logo, and it worked really well.
Yeah. And we did Deep Face Lab. We trained it on Cole's and Tristan's face, and we didn't let it run for long enough, so it didn't look amazing. But we were able to swap Tristan's face with Cole's and have Cole also
long neck Cole
say stuff that he didn't say.
Well, we're already breaking into some of the stuff we're going to talk about today.
Yeah.
So before we jump into any of that, who are you? No.
Who are you? Who is this man?
Who are you? Right.
Yeah. No, but for those of you who are listening or watching, give us your introduction as to who you are and kind of what you're up to, and then we'll dive into it a little bit more.
All right. So my name's Adam Trabold. I live in Johnson City, Tennessee. That's where I've been living for the last 6.5 years ish. Bachelor of Science Communications at Milligan with a minor in photography, and I've been teaching at Milligan for the last 2.5 years now. So assistant professor of photography and videography, artist in residence. Currently working on MFA applications because I'd like to get into grad school, because I'd like to teach, full time, be the guy, right?
Yep.
Wanting to do that. And I'm dating Kat, obviously. I like her. She's nice. I'm biased, but I like her. She's she's mid. No.
I prefer my wife, but she's cool. I'm glad you're partial.
Love you, Kat. No. She's gonna see this later.
Yep.
You know she's gonna watch this as soon as it goes live.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, and then I'm gonna get a phone call later on, right? Like, what did you say
about that thing you said on the podcast?
You said I was aight.
Yeah.
I'll show you aight. It's actually scary too. I just thought about the fact, like, as soon as this episode is just like on the server, she can watch it. It doesn't even have to be out on the interwebs.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
She has access.
Yeah.
If she knows better, she won't be looking at it while we're doing our wedding shoot that we're going to be going for. So I don't want to hear it.
You guys have a busy week.
Yes.
She have a headphone in her ear, listening to it while she's taking photos. She's like,
every once in a while, just a little.
Okay.
You know what? I'm going to mess this up just because you said that. No.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's just kind of a little bit of what I'm doing.
Okay.
And then, you know, I'm an active artist, I guess. So I've been working with film. I have several. What do I have? 47 different film cameras, I think.
Whoa.
Dang. Okay.
It's a problem.
I
spent a lot of money on this.
What's the worst one?
The worst one?
You have 47. There's got to be
one.
just like a blatantly worst one.
Well, I mean, I don't know.
Everyone wants to know the best. I want to know the worst.
They're like my children, right? Like, you know, I will say that there's some that I can't use simply because, like, they don't make the film format anymore. But they're all
they're obsolete.
Yeah, for the most part obsolete. But all of them are really, really interesting, right?
That's cool.
Like I have everything from 6mm little SpeedX spy camera to 4x5 field camera. I have an old like a, you know, back in like the 50s and 60s when the government was okay with us giving children uranium to play with or whatever, right?
Oh yeah.
Like there was this little photography kit that has a little red light bulb that you could screw into your bedroom to make it into the dark room. It's got little trays. It's got the chemical packs. It came with this little toy camera, right, that works. It's just like just a shutter flipper camera, which was really cool. You know,
that's awesome.
Right? Yeah, we'll just give the kids carcinogens as a little treat. They can have a little bit of cancer.
I was gonna say,
a
little bit of cancer.
We're gonna sprinkle cancer there for Christmas.
A little cancer introduction.
He'll brush it off.
Right? Yeah, they'll breathe it out eventually. To everything, from like Yashica, Minolta, Vivitar, Pentax. The Pentax is what I like to use the most.
The favorite child.
Yeah. And then obviously I have a digital Canon, which is I don't really shoot digital all that much. I mainly stick to film, but I can shoot digital. I go from there and I like to do black and white mostly. And then I'll do film soup with color film, which is I'd take color film. Because if we're thinking about, I'm going to get into the professor mode here, right?
That's okay. Come on, we're here. We're locked in.
So if you think about
Give me a second to get on my...
Let's everybody bust out their notes.
There's a quiz on this later. No.
Dang it. I'm already sweating. I'm a bad test taker.
I'm pulling up YouTube on the side here and act like I'm listening now. Yep. Okay. I find this interesting.
Okay, film soup.
So if we think about black and white, it has one layer of emulsion on the backing of the film, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
With color film, has three different emulsion layers. The emulsion layer being what's sensitive to light, right? So it's silver halide crystals suspended in a gel emulsion, and when light hits that, they go black, which is why we see black. We see the reverse of the image when we're looking at black and white, right? Mm-hmm. And then whatever.
Negative.
Yeah, negative. Thank you. So with color film, there's three different layers of emulsion. There's a red layer, a blue layer, and a green layer, kind of like how we see with our eyes as, living human beings, as opposed to dead human beings.
Don't see.
They say real weird stuff.
Right. And for
CMYK.
Yeah. Well, and with that too, there's a dye coupler for each layer of emulsion. So there's a cyan, a magenta, and a yellow dye coupler for, the red, yellow, or red, green, and blue, and they're kind of like a sandwich or accordion or whatever. So doing film soup, what I'll do is I'll boil this film to get it pliable, and then I'll submerge it in some sort of solution, usually an acidic solution like vinegar, baking soda. Throw in a little bit of salt, a little bit of coffee grounds. I could do Coke and Mentos or whatever. I'll let it soak. So what's happening is that the acid or whatever I'm using is destroying the layers between each emulsion. Therefore, all these colors are starting to mix, right?
Okay.
And then I'll take it out, I'll dry it, and then gotta breathe. I don't want to breathe in the mic there.
You're good, man.
Yeah.
And then I'll dry it out. Then I'll put it in my camera, and then I'll shoot it. So sometimes I get a photo, but I'll get like these weird like spots or streaks or blotches of color. Other times I won't get any sort of image per se, right? Like I could shoot you and not get anything, but I would get like these weird blotches of color, almost like a primordial soupy type of thing, right? Or I'll just get blocks of color with just almost no information there. And I can see just the grain structure of the film.
Oh, that's
right.
Cool.
Wow.
So leading into that, I've begun to then experiment with AI, using different algorithms and products that I've found over the last few months. The one I mainly use is Night Cafe. That's been my go-to. So a lot of the work that you'll see on my Instagram, I just did a show back in October with my AI stuff, and so a lot of the stuff that you would have seen in that show would have been from the Night Cafe stuff that I've been making over the last year or so. And it's been a lot of fun and very interesting, and starting to kind of get into that. And then I'm trying to use all of that to get into grad school. So I'm trying to merge all of that together and make my artist statement, and to send that off to places and ask them to give me money.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So walk us through this, the AI portion of it. So I don't think we've used dall-e and Stable Diffusion. Have we? I don't know if we've used much else.
Oh, the Deep Face Lab thing. But,
right. Yeah. So we've used some of that to generate some stuff.
Descript, but that's for audio.
Yeah.
Oh, what was the other one? It was used on Discord. It was
Midjourney.
Midjourney.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I know a lot of times, right, the thought process is usually, if you're doing art with the AI, you're normally pulling, you're giving it a subject, but you're pulling from another art or artist's style. So when you go in to create something original, kind of I'm assuming you're creating from a prompt. So like, how do you go about doing that? And like, are you pulling from other styles, or are you kind of like making it your own?
Well, it kind of shift here. It kind of depends on what you're looking for. So just to give a general overview of what Night Cafe is. Night Cafe has evolved over the last several months. You started with just a single like algorithmic process. Let's put it that way. And since then, it's evolved into, I think it has 4 now. It has an artistic algorithm, a coherent algorithm, a stable algorithm like the Stable Diffusion stuff, and I want to say I added dall-e onto their website. That I really don't play with all that much, because I've just YouTube's kind of killed that one for me. Yeah, not exactly the most high res, right? Because I'm wanting to print. I'm wanting to actually make work and print stuff.
So it has like 4 different brains you can use.
4 different brains. Yeah, let's go with that terminology.
Yeah.
And within each one, there's so many different aspects that you can mess with, right? So the thing that I find that most people are apprehensive about is when they think AI. This is my mother talking too, because she doesn't exactly get this. Like giving
Skynet.
giving the program a word or a phrase or whatever, and giving it maybe a starting image, and then letting it run. How she thinks, and how a lot of other people think that I've come across, is that that's no longer my work. I've given it, I've given up that control, and I've kind of just passed it on to this program, and now it's the program's work and not mine. I beg to differ on that. Okay. Let's just talk about the artistic algorithm. Artistic algorithm, it is very abstract. It's very archaic looking. A lot of patches, a lot of blocks of color. You can still get some very interesting scenes out of it, but it's not as coherent as, say, the coherent or the stable algorithms, right? You can put in a prompt, right? It asks for a prompt. You have to have a prompt in order to continue, because that's kind of the whole point, right? And you can choose, and this algorithm, the people that have been running this website have gone through, I'd say, millions of different words and combinations, sentences to figure out what affects the algorithm the most. And they've gone the liberty of for whoever's using it to create these lists of things that you can put in that has an effect on it. So like things like, using like a Unity engine or CryEngine or 4K HD, Kodak Ektar, or different,
Super 8.
Super 8, or like mythical or steampunk, whatever, right? But also they use, you can also use, different artists, right? So like Picasso or dall-e or Da Vinci or whoever, right? If they've had a presence as far as the art world is concerned, and it's not a photographer, I guess, because photography isn't seen as art still for some stupid reason.
Doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. It's probably on there. So you can pull from that, or you can make your own stuff up, right? You don't have to include anything that they give you, right? You can throw in a starting image. You don't have to throw in a starting image. I tend to, because I feel like that gives more personability to the output, right? Because it came from this is coming from something that I made, that I put in, right?
So you usually make, or do you take a photo, or do you make something and paint on the computer?
I've been really just carrying around it was just this old digital with the pop out zoom lens, right? You saw from 2005 to 2010 or whatever, right? That your mom probably carried around, right? Yeah. At family vacation or reunions or whatever. It's geez, flash, right? The flash was always on. I've just been
blinded everybody,
right? And there's just no warning. I've been carrying one of those around recently, just so that I can start taking I don't really need a whole lot. I just need a low res image for my stuff to work off of, right? Yeah. So I've just been carrying that around, and just stuff that I see on my everyday life that I'm just not carrying one of my regular cameras around. That's what it's there for. And I'll also use, any of my film work, my soup work, my digital work.
So that's part of your process, instead of using because everybody has a phone camera now that's high resolution and all that stuff. You're intentionally choosing this older camera for its style, for its influence, for what you're going to use on the I forget the name of it already.
Night Cafe.
Yeah. And so that's part of your process and your design for it.
Yeah. Because I could easily just use my phone, and that's where I use it, is on my phone, right? That's where I usually, if I'm going on the website, that's usually where I'm going. So I could easily pull stuff from my phone to use. But I found that thinking about I'm still creating something, and I want to have as much control as I can of it without having control of the final product, if that makes sense.
No, that makes total sense. Yeah. Makes total sense, because I get it, right? Because it's at that point, if you take it with your phone, you're still leaving that picture up to somewhat the algorithm that works on your phone then. Right. So you have much less control.
Right. So I'm taking the photo taking process away from the phone, and I'm still going through the motions of taking it. I'm taking the photo, taking the SD card out, putting it into the computer, taking it off, putting it onto my phone, or Google Drive, and then downloading that, and So you put your starting image in if you want one. You can choose your seed, which is anywhere from a 1 to, I think they're up to 20 digits now. And that's just, it's like a Minecraft seed, right? It's just going to just foop up your image, right? You'll never know, if whatever, you won't know what's going to come out on the other side. And some of them are really interesting because there are some people that have found seeds that like they really, really like, so they just continue to use that one seed for a lot of their photos or a lot of their images, right?
Yeah.
I haven't gotten to that part. I like the randomness of it, so I usually don't tend to I usually just don't look at it. I just hit the random button and it goes for me.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And if you don't have a image in there, you can choose the what's it called, vertical, horizontal, whatever, right? What type of image, what size of image. And then, which is the important part, is, and this is through all four of the algorithms, is that you can choose how long your image stays in the algorithm and what your output resolution is going to be. Your output resolution goes from thumbnail size to low res to medium res. And then for the artistic algorithm, I believe it's you can go from short, medium, long, extra long, and that's 200, 400, 800 and 1200 iterations, right? So an iteration takes what you give it, pops it through, takes that, pops it through again, right?
Yeah.
You don't see all of that, obviously. You kind of just see, bits and pieces of it going through the process and then the final product.
Yeah. I think on Midjourney, it would give like 4 examples of whatever prompt you gave it. And then if you liked one of them, you could tell it to like make... I think it used an upscaler, but it would you could say, I want more of this one specifically and make variations based off of the thing that it just made, or you can make it tell it a bit bigger or similar things like that, like more like it, less like it, that type of thing.
Right. There's an upscaler with all of them, right? With all these algorithms on Night Cafe, so you can do that. And then what you were describing, that's more akin to how the stable algorithm works on Night Cafe, because you can choose, 1, 4, 8, or 16 images to pop from this one prompt, right? And then you can pick and choose, and then you can upscale whichever ones and keep whichever ones you want. Coherent is kind of like artistic. It's just more coherent, right? Like structures are more structurally sound. Wow, I'm great at describing things. And then stable obviously
describes itself,
right? And then stable obviously is better with faces, and then dall-e is whatever dall-e's been for the last few months.
I don't know. We messed with it. We did a little video.
The queen eating a banana or whatever, whatever the hell people are making these days, right?
It was
we made a dog out of bananas, didn't we?
Dog out of bananas.
I think I saw that one. That was funny.
Wasn't the donkey sitting on a banana too?
Yeah.
It got weird real fast.
Yeah. The good old days.
And now a quick break to hear from our sponsors. Coffee House 5. With locations in Franklin and Greenwood and soon a third in Bargersville, Coffee House 5 is Johnson County's premier independent coffee shop to relax, study, or meet friends around great coffee and great food Monday through Saturday. Whether it's a handcrafted espresso or a single origin pour-over, you'll enjoy the freshest, smoothest coffee possible roasted in-house at their Franklin location using a unique airbed roasting process. And don't forget to pair your coffee with a ham and cheddar scone, biscuits and gravy made with their award-winning Parmesan chive biscuit, or any of their other pastries and sandwiches prepared in their Franklin kitchen using family recipes in a style they call Midwest comfort food. As if that's not enough to get your attention, Coffee House 5 is a for-benefit coffee house. All profits are invested in building a stronger community through their support of local mental health services, which you can read more about on their website, coffeehouse5.com. So next time you're in Franklin or Greenwood, and soon Bargersville, stop by Coffee House 5.
Yeah.
The good old days.
I hate to scroll through my Stable Diffusion history.
There's a lot of game programmers, guys that just do indie stuff on YouTube, and I've watched a couple their videos where it's kind of like a speed run, but they make and set all the rules for their own goal for that episode or whatever. And a lot of times like for game design, it's similar where you're talking about like the iterations where it like takes, you put in a prompt and it makes it and then it spits it out and then you just keep recycling it. For like AI development of like a character in a video game, they'll have like a starting point and an end point, and the it's like the Rick and Morty little session where he's like, little robot's like, what's my purpose? And he's like, your purpose is to pass butter or spread butter or whatever. It's like it like spawns in like 50 of these little dudes at the start, and they're like, what's my purpose? And you're like, get to the end of the map, and it's just like move from point A to point B, and then some of them may have more legs, some may have less legs, some may hop, some may walk, or and like over time you could see like the evolutionary process of, all right, 10 of them went down, and the one that got the farthest, I like that like the top 3 iterations of those. Yep. And it'll take those top 3 and it'll send them back, and then it'll do it again and again. And so every time you're constantly getting the top 3, like you're cutting the bottom 3, and then like there's some in the middle that just keep doing the same thing.
That's called genetic algorithms.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those are really cool.
So as you're describing it, it's like, oh, that's really similar, because they kind of do a similar concept for video game. Well, I don't know if they...
It's AI. That version of it.
And they're video game testers professionally, or video game programmers, but then in their free time when they make YouTube videos, that's the type of application AI serves in a different medium. And it's like, we're trying to figure out how to use it for video, but then like hearing how it works for photo, it's like it's like a bunch of little toddlers like running around absorbing information. And like each brain's a toddler, and you're like, all right, what do you think of this image? The kid's like, I think it would look real cool if you did this. And you're like, oh, okay. And you're like, I don't like your opinion. And you go find another toddler. And then like after, like you said, over the last 3 months, like they've evolved so much. It's like, all right, now you're 3 years old. What do you think of this? And it's like, oh, that's even better than what you thought last year. Great job.
Yeah, we're still like in the infancy of it, because we've been chasing after this for a long time, and it's just now we've like caught up with like either hardware wise, everything together, like caught up with the hardware.
It was a societal thing
in society.
That was I heard somebody put it this way the other day, and I was like, wow, okay, that makes complete sense, because none of these are new ideas, right?
Oh no,
sure.
These are all processes that have existed. Maybe they couldn't have worked as fast, with I think current computing power makes a big difference, but like in general, this is no new diffusion, concept, right? Is not a new thing,
right?
So, but it was like at first, I mean, it's just like with Google Glass when it first came out, right? They pushed it out, and everybody was like, "Oh, privacy," and that product died before it was even really like a consumer reality. And that has been kind of the same thing with this AI stuff, because people think AI and they think it's bad, and it has this negative connotation.
Well, you said the Google Glass, that's what you said, right? Well, now that's making a comeback too, because we're now more like acclimated. We're seeing like AR and VR stuff, and people are getting into it.
You put a Meta Quest on your face, you have like 5 cameras on your face.
Facebook have all my information.
It's like
scan my room, know everything about it.
Apple, they're always always waiting, man. Apple's like, I'll just wait a couple of years till everyone else does it, and then we'll do it better. It's like they just waited 15 years, and they're like, we'll just do AR now.
Well, that's what I just think that what happened with like Stable Diffusion, because it was OpenAI that really like, they were like, we're going to push this out. It feels like the right time, and then it took off, and and now that it's like everybody like peeked around the corner, and they're like, oh, they did that, and it worked out. They're like, are you sure it's okay to come out? And like everyone emerged.
Everything's like, exploding in go in this
catch up,
like emulate human AI things. Did we ever talk about Chat GPT?
We have not, no.
So that's in the same vein. You familiar?
Actually, I'm not, no.
So it's made by OpenAI, but it's a chat bot, and it's kind of like, I forget what it was before, but it is very similar, where you just like give it a prompt, but instead of like make an image, you can be like, write a 5-page essay on why Patrick Star is better than SpongeBob, and it'll just do that.
And it's not repeatable. That's the thing. It's like you're talking about with seeds and stuff. It's like... nobody else will get the same outcome. So plagiarism checks, you could screw off. Except now they're starting to make algorithms to detect algorithms. So like, so teachers are going to have to pay for some sort of, or the schools will have to have some sort of subscription service to detect whether or not the student is artificially writing these papers. I'm sure you have more to your point, but I blew my mind.
The old ADA, the algorithm detection algorithm.
Yeah, but you can also be like, hey, I want you to act like a computer terminal, and like when I type something, accept it as a command, and then respond with what a computer would respond. And so you could like tell it to become a virtual thing, and it does it like 90% of the time.
Or coding websites.
Or code a website, or be like, hey, you are a McDonald's server, act like you're trying to serve me at McDonald's, and be like, hi, how's it doing? And it's like, hey, what do you want to order? And like it goes through like everything and it just pretends it's a McDonald's server, like trying to figure out what you want to eat.
Wow.
And it gets really weird.
I'll have to see if I can find the name of the I don't know the proper word for it, but it's like what is Stable Diffusion? The four things that you mentioned that you can run through Night Cafe. They are, what do you refer to those 4 things as? You said he said brains, but like what is there like a term for that?
Specifically models, like models or models,
models. I guess that's kind of what it would be. Models, brains, something like that.
So there was one that came out recently because like all of these do one thing, like the model does one specific thing in terms of like it renders photos or it does text. There was one model that came out like within the last 2 weeks that does multiple things 80 to 90% as well as what other models do independently. And it was just really interesting because it's like, okay, now I don't need 10 pieces of software, or I like, if you wanted to produce a video, it's like, all right, I need one for faces, and I need one for rotoscoping, and I need one for text generation, and I need one for voice matching and stuff, like voice generation. There's so many different steps, and it's like, all right, here's one that actually does most of it. So it's like, all right, we went from making a photo in like 10 seconds to like sort of being able to code a video game, and now it's like, all right, make me video game, make me movie. And it's like, all right, here's characters, and this is what they're going to do, and there's the script, and here's what they say.
Write a script,
here's a video game, here's Call of Duty, we're in Iran, we're shooting stuff. It's like, oh, okay, all right, cool.
All of a sudden we went to Iran.
Well, like I write the new Jack Ryan script.
Whatever. Like, and it'll actually produce
and
it
make
with
the
characters
poster for it,
and make the posters. Like, and tell me what the critics think of it. And it's like, all right, here's what the critics think. You're like, okay, should I watch it? It's like you're like making a movie, having critics review it, and then you're like, no, I don't really feel like watching it. So you write up anher movie.
So all of that, a whole new video game. I think
wow,
we are still in the infancy of it even now. We have we're in the infancy of the internet. Like we're still trying to figure out how the internet should work.
Hey,
like
man,
whether it comes
Web
to laws,
Web 3's on its way.
Oh, shut up.
It's
so
on
there's
its
that
way.
whole thing too, right? And so there's a lot of like debates and like calls for like what the ethics should be behind these models and what should or shouldn't be done. And there's a whole rabbit trail you can go there that gets very dark and crazy.
Oh, sure.
But I wanted to touch
that
on the ethics of the researchers using other people's art to be trained in the models. So like people, whether it's like a photographer, be like, I want you to make 10 shots of Cole Ankney photography. And like they trained in this model, they trained all their stuff on your photos or whatever, Cole, and they didn't ask you for your consent. And it's all based off of your stuff. And like this is done for thousands of people's artists online.
Yeah.
And they're not happy about it.
I get
and
it.
they think something should be done about it. And it's like, well, it's not actually making your art. It's making what it thinks your art should be. So it doesn't matter or not. And we don't have answers for that right now.
Well, it's like if you do it by hand, how is it that much different? Like if you just saw someone's art, you're like, I'm just going to trace it with a stencil.
Because people do use references. Well, using the stencils.
It's not
a whole other debate.
But it's like, is that illegal?
That gets people going for hours.
Well, it's not like a debate of ethics. It's a debate of like legality in that case. Is like, can you train a model on people's art? It's like,
I think that's the
ethically,
basis of
maybe
it.
or maybe not, depending on the person, the artist, and consent and all that. But like legally, should there be a precedent? And it's like, well, I like your art. I saw it and I took a picture of it. It's like, is that illegal? And it's like, well, no, well, maybe it is. Well, then what if I like I bought it, but then I trace it with a stencil. And it's like, well, are you selling it? It's like, no. Well, it's like, well, maybe that is fine to do. Are you selling it? It's like, well, if I am, does that make it illegal? And it's like
some of these you have to pay to use the service in the first place.
So then they're profiting off of other people's
like dall-e. I had to pay money to use dall-e for a certain amount of tokens.
Yeah.
And I don't know, do you have to pay to use Night Cafe?
I do pay to use Night Cafe. Yeah. It is a so I can go like maybe I think it's like $50 and I get 700 credits.
Yeah.
And then I use those credits to it prices it out at the very end of whatever before I hit the start button per se. And with Night Cafe, two things. I'm gonna get back to what you just said. With Night Cafe, what they've expressed is that if you make an account, they'll give you 5 free credits every day, right? Ooh. Cool, awesome, great. You can farm that for days. Yeah. But if you want to buy credits, you are then at that point, that art is now yours, that you've made, that you've spent money on, and you can download it. You can sell prints of it. You can put it on a t-shirt or flag and burn it for all we care, right? That's what they're saying.
Make an NFT.
As long as there's this, no corn on there, right? Yeah. Nothing bad, right? Sure. Yep. Be a good person on here.
No
right?
murder.
That's a lot.
No, yeah. But back to what you said, I actually got a good story for that.
Yeah.
My old digital professor, his name's Michael Call. He had for a art show taken a photo of just a bell pepper. It was like a close-up shot. It was a nice looking bell pepper, right? It was black and white. It was really cool. Pepper. He sent it in, and the jurors contacted him and said, "Hey, we really like your photo, but unfortunately, it is too similar to the famous Edward Weston pepper." I think it's Edward Weston. Cat, don't at me. And this was like a famous pepper, though, because Edward Weston, I want to say, is the guy who did it. He did a lot of minimalism and a lot of, close-up photography. And like he did like lotus leaves, nautilus shells, and he did a bell pepper, right, to kind of show off, contrast and light.
Yeah.
But Call did not try to go out of his way to replicate, this famous photo that several photography, like almost all photography classes, talk about, because it's one of the people that we need to know about. So, as far as like, if the AI is using if someone else's art, is that stealing art or stealing that art style? There's nothing new under the sun, right?
True.
All we're doing as artists is adding to the conversation of art, right? Yeah. Which is something that I'm trying to figure out with like my artist statement, because like we've said, the AI stuff is not new, right?
Right.
Like the one I Down the Rabbit Hole did a really good video on this. It was like an hour and a half video on the Deep Blue was the chess bot, right? And the whole history behind that. Like that's one of that was at the time was the one that was, if Terminator crap and whatever, like that was
it was going to be Deep Blue,
right? It was going to be Deep Blue. That's what was going to kill us, was the chess bot, right? Yep. So this isn't a new point of conversation. It's just now it's gotten into the art world, and so we're having to figure out, is this a tool that we're using, which I believe that it is. Is this are we just giving up control and just letting this robot kind of just tell us what art is?
Isn't that what Hollywood is, though? It's like Hollywood's like, hey, this is a movie. Like, this is a movie. Like, you'll watch it and you'll like it. You're like, oh, I don't know if I really like it, but I definitely, it's like that's what keeps getting spit out. It's like you're not making movies.
The Family Guy. Breaking Bad is the greatest TV show ever, right? Yeah,
we don't have to make any more now.
I will tell everybody about Breaking Bad, right?
It's like
have you heard of Breaking Bad?
You should. No.
It's like they're like, oh, this is bad because it's not sentient and it's telling you like it's producing things, but it's like, yeah, but you weren't really involved with the procedural generation of any Marvel movie either. Maybe you know somebody that contributed to it, but it's also you may know somebody that contributed to the model that produced the art. You know, like it's like maybe it's too condescending to artists that work on big movies or anything. Like if you're a part of engineering a car, it's like you didn't actually make the car, you didn't sell me the car or anything, but like you were a cog in the piece of this assembly that eventually got a car to me, and I'm probably not gonna think much about that person. I feel like maybe that mentality of like manufacturing is starting to make its way over into the artist world, where it's like, well, I'm the artist, and maybe that guy that works on like derby cars on the weekend or something, it's like, this is my art, this is the thing I do in my own time. It's like, yeah, but when it came to this new piece of art, you were just like an element that helped facilitate this like mass manufacturing process of art generation, right? And it's all for the benefit of like consumerism, because like how people want all these movies, and COVID hit, and it's like people have so much free time to watch movies. How do we get more movies? And it's like Netflix starts signing deals with anybody that wants to make a murder documentary. It's like, all right, this is art now.
I will still watch every one of them.
Exactly. so it's like,
I just watched another.
Oh my god! To me,
it's art.
I would rather look at generated art than watch a murder documentary. And I think there is somehow more artistic merit in some of them. But I know that's not
it's
everyone's
almost
opinion.
mind-numbing though, because like Netflix, they are doing a lot of like documentaries along those lines. Well, they also seem to be absorbing all of these like, oh, you want to make an adult cartoon? We'll line right up. We'll
you like stand-up comedy?
Right.
You have 3 jokes? Yeah. Come have a comedy special. Here's $2 million.
And so like it kind of feels like we're waiting on the edge of our seats. Like, what's the new thing that's going to hit? Like Rick and Morty, like really revolutionized like that type of style of comedy for adult cartoons, and every like once in a while, like like you'll get a Breaking Bad, and now we have like Better Call Saul, and now everybody wants like anti-hero shows and things like that. And we go through these phases.
It's I think to sum it up, right, it's like the quickness of our attention span, and like how fast we can pump stuff
TikTok.
out, right? Right, yeah. And like with the AI stuff, when photography, and this I could go on this for like hours.
That's what do it.
When photography happened in the 1800s, a lot of painters and sculptors and drawers and mosaic artists and whatever, they were
this is BS,
right? Because you
just click the button.
You just click the button. Anybody can do this, right? But
people still think that,
and people, right, and that's one thing that makes me upset. But we're not going to get to
you
that.
and me both, buddy. My mom says, "Look at this picture I took," and I'm like,
"On my iPhone."
With no context,
it's kind of crap, Mom, but I love you.
We had a podcast where I said photos are dumb.
We did.
Photos are dumb, and I like video, but there's no context around that. That's all you need to know.
Yeah.
Well, you wouldn't have video without photos, but
I'm just saying, right?
Whoa!
Is it just a bunch of photos consecutive?
I'm not saying you're welcome, but
Well, it's like with television and stuff. People are like, TV's so dumb. I'm cutting the cable, and now you just watch Netflix all day. You're like, my parents were so lame. They only read the newspaper. It's like those were the people that went on to TV.
Right.
Cable
Watch
TV was on
commercials.
Netflix. Those kids get grown up on Vine and TikTok and YouTube.
Even
and
when books came out, there was like newspaper articles saying like, too many of these kids, they're on the trains and they're reading their books. They're never going to talk to anybody. What are they going to do reading reading books. And now if like you read a book, you're seen as like smart and like interesting compared to like using your phone.
Imagine being alive when the first book dropped, dude. Like, honestly,
dude, being that kid. That's a thing. Like playing Plato and Socrates.
And everybody's like, what?
What is that?
I mean, it wasn't the first book drop, but like Plato and Socrates, like they talk about this. He's like, hey, you're my student and you're supposed to like memorize stuff. And he's like, I'm going to write it down. He's like, your brain will rot. You need to memorize everything. If you don't memorize things, you're dumb. And he's like, nah, I'm going to write it down.
Now we can't remember crap.
I mean, that's not the first book, but like the idea of just, hey, there's this new way of doing things. Like, nah, I don't like that. That's dumb.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
You're very right, Adam. There's always that pushback period of something new and different, and everybody who has locked themselves into the old way of doing things, they're like, no, we can't, this can't be good. And sometimes they're right.
Right.
But most of the time it's just the refusal to move with the times.
Right. And that's the bit that's so frustrating too. It's like, and especially now with like this whole AI, with all the AI stuff, because I wasn't, obviously I wasn't alive back in the 1800s. I'm right here and I'm only 24 years old.
So I would be impressed.
Still looking pretty damn good if I was that old, right?
Yes.
But I kind of feel like how I think, these photographers would have felt, especially growing in like the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, right? Mm-hmm. And then going into the 80s with the development of color film, being told that what they're passionate about and what they love experimenting with it doesn't have any sort of substance, right? It's just a waste of time. It's like, well, who are you to tell me that what I enjoy is a waste of time, or maybe you're just you got your head too far up your butt that you can't see that this is like the next big thing. Yep. So I think with as we move forward and get more technological, there is going to be a lot of that pushback. Yeah. But it's a new way of doing stuff, right?
Well, let me play devil's advocate for a second here.
Oh, we love this. It's fun.
Okay. So from the other side of the fence, I think, where we're seeing kind of the artist cry out for, the means to, or the ability to like monetize their work in a way, like what we saw the whole initial boom with like NFTs, right? It was like, oh my gosh, this is going to change, artists forever, and they're going to be able to make digital artwork, and that digital artwork then can be sold online, and you've got your token. It's like, that's your one legitimate copy, blah, 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 right? Yeah. It was like the way to monetize. And it's like, they kind of saw that moment, and then here comes the AI art generation. They're like, they can take my style and they can make their own art with it, and somehow they'll probably monetize that, but here I am sitting back here with no way to monetize that. Yeah. And they're saying that's where we're going to see these lawsuits come into play, where it's like, you're taking my style and that's taking money off of my table and blah blah blah. And it's like, I can kind of understand kind of where that movement is coming from,
right? But it's like cooking. It's like, hey, you can't use pepper, I use pepper. It's like, it's a style. Like, it's like, oh, this is my herb from my region, you can't use my region. It's like, well, it could be cultural, like on a large scale, or it could be an individual, like, hey, I always use lemon in my recipes.
We're seeing some of that happen.
I've seen some of that. Like, opposite sides a lot of times too, because like in that vein, there was this cooking show where it was like a French chef, because of course French chef, they were talking about like, why, like if you were making like some like this breakfast thing with like eggs and cheese and stuff, and like the guest on there was like, if you added onions to that, it would be like this dish that I really like. And be like, well, yeah, if you gave my grandmother wheels, she'd be like a bike. And it's just like, if you add just one thing to a recipe, it's also completely and totally different, like transformed into something else completely. Yeah. But you also have people who are like, well, it's basically the same thing minus this.
I think that's like where the opinion comes from.
No, it's not.
Yeah. So you have these two different working. Yeah.
So I made stir fry one time, and Teo, our resident rice expert in our friend group.
Oh my gosh, you could have put that so many different ways.
Put him on blast.
No, he genuinely he is very particular about how rice should and shouldn't be done.
Does he do it in a rice cooker?
Dude, he's really good at cooking, and his rice is amazing, and he does use a cooker, I believe.
I use a rice cooker.
Everyone smart does.
Yeah.
I made a dish or something. I was like, yeah, I made stir fry. And he's like, that's not stir fry. And it's like, what do you mean? I was like, I use a pan. There's oil. I heat it up. I made rice.
I fried it.
Stirred and fried. He's like, this ain't stir fry. And I was like, dude, honestly, if you hand me the two, I might taste the difference, but I could not tell you which one off the menu was the stir fry. I was like, I'm just an ignorant little man, and I think the issue is the people that are ignorant just don't have as much knowledge to like discern. In this case,
you defined what ignorant was.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like they don't. I was like, but the question is, does it matter? And I like that's like, does it actually matter to your question?
Andrew's going to be in the comments. And he's saying yes.
Because I know.
And now, a quick break to hear from our sponsors. Passion for Acting Theater Company. Passion for Acting Theater Company has a passion for bringing excellent and entertaining live theater to audiences in Bartholomew County. Passion for Acting Theater Company, created in 2018, performs dinner theater productions at the terrific and eclectic Willow Leaves of Hope on the Square in Hope, Indiana. Their first production, The Miracle Worker, was a huge success and received great reviews from audience members. Since then, Passion for Acting Theater Company has performed 10 shows, ranging from comedies like The Kitchen Witches and The Odd Couple, to drama and suspense like their original murder mystery, Angel Street, to classic children's literature like The Secret Garden and Anne of Green Gables. Their next show will be Kalamazoo, a comedy about what happens when older folks try to get into the online dating scene. Kalamazoo will be performed at Willow Leaves of Hope in February, just in time for a Valentine's Day or to laugh the winter blues away. Enjoy a delicious dinner and a great night of entertainment at Willow Leaves of Hope. Phone number is 812-341-7251. Call now to make reservations for this laugh-out-loud comedy.
Yes.
Because I know. I think there is one big, large legal difference, and that's the fact that you can't, once you create an art piece, it's intellectual property.
Right.
Right.
Like
so
what
it
is
does,
transformative?
Yeah. So it falls underneath a system of laws.
Yeah.
When you make a dish with a certain type of ingredient or whatever, right, that doesn't fall under any sort of system of laws that pertain to it, right?
But isn't it art?
I mean, that depends on who you're asking.
It's like
it's becoming more of that, but it's a different. I understand. I understand the using that as an example for sure, but I know that's also part of what's coming into play here is that there is somewhat of a legal foot to stand on. Not to say that they're going to get anywhere, but it's like as soon as I have it set up in my camera. Like when I take an image, it has our information, our copyright information that's based on an image, because as soon as that image is taken, it is now yours.
I want you to sue me after I dye my hair blonde on top. It's like, hey, that's my style. I have blonde hair. It's like, even though that's like your natural birthright, like you are born with blonde hair and I was not, I could just dye my hair blonde anytime on top. And it's like, what are you going to do about it?
Nothing.
But it's a style. Like you can't own that element of style. It's like I don't understand.
Technically, per federal law, you can, and not per the hair, right? But I'm talking about works of art, whether that's music or photography or your physical art or whatever it might be. I mean, still, it's like when we create a video, right? Like we own the rights to it.
Yeah,
like it's still our creation, and there is a whole set. Again, there's a subset of laws that like cover those individuals and their art.
Yeah. So fair use.
Yeah. So it's like, I completely transformative. I understand. Again, it's very easy to make the comparison to all these different things, and if boiled down, it's as simple as that. But it's like there is a portion of artists, communities that are rising up with using these laws to be like, hey, don't use my style. And like I'm not saying like I fully agree with it, but I also kind of understand where they're coming from.
Right.
I mean, it's like if you took years and years and years to even decades, right, to formulate your style as an artist. And let's just talk about like physical, like whether that's painting or photography or like, digital art that, they're still making from scratch, right? They're just using different mediums. I mean, it's still like you spent all that time and you're like, and I do these things because I enjoy it. And it's also how I make my living. And then it's like, hey, you know, Cole Ankney can sit down at his computer and make a banana look like, you know, it was painted in my art style. You know? I kind of see it.
Yeah. They're running into this issue with, I think Alan Pan, I don't know if I mentioned this last time, but Alan Pan is a YouTuber, makes a video. He does text types of innovative, weird, quirky ideas, and he wanted to give snakes back their legs. So he makes a robot that a snake can crawl into, and the snake can walk forward, and it's like a full video and everything.
I've seen that.
And then guess what? You probably heard about it from the news, because that's where most people did, unless it was just like organically ripped from someone else on the platform.
Unless you're younger and you don't watch the news.
Well, even if it wasn't on YouTube, like if it was his video, chances are if you saw it, it was probably somebody cut it up and re-edited it, and then you saw someone's re-upload, which they are getting credit for. But in this specific instance, he makes this video, some BuzzFeed type of CNN post comes out, and they're like, hey, this guy made a snake thing, and here's his name. And they never reached out to him, asked for approval or anything. They never gave him any money. And he's like, how can they get away with this? And it's like, we're the news. We report on things. He's like, yeah, but this is my art, and you just upload it in its entirety and then maybe added subtitles over. It's like, that's not transformative. Like, it doesn't have to be, because it's news.
They didn't even cite him as a source.
It's
like, you're not even being informative about what you're saying. You're just like, some guy's like, look at this. I'm not going to tell you anything about it.
So at the start of the video, it does say his name, and in the post, it does say his name. But the fact is, like, it was his art. It wasn't theirs to take. And because they're the news and they can report on things, they can get away with it. So his point is, why can't I go into the Morbius theater with a camera behind me and hold a microphone and talk about it as the movie plays right behind me over my shoulder? He's like, what is the difference? One is legal, one is not. Well, he posted on YouTube and the video didn't get flagged, so maybe it was legal. Maybe he proved his point. But I feel like if Sony saw that video, they would try to pull it with all legal intentions.
Yeah, they'd be like, you're not allowed to do that.
Yeah. So I don't know. Professor?
Professor, how do you feel about the last 20 minutes?
This is a deep rabbit hole, my friend.
Right. I mean, you know, I got to go back to what I said before. There's nothing really new under the sun. When we're talking about, you know, we're talking about appropriation, we're talking about transformity on YouTube. That's just a whole bit in and of itself, right?
Yeah.
And I think that as long as there's some as far as video is concerned, as long as there's like some transformative element, like YouTube can give you captions, right? So that's thrown out. Forget that, right? Like if you know, like this. Okay, so like TikTok, right? Yeah. You know, they'll have I don't know why I keep getting these so much, but it's the Family Guy, right? With like the speed run, or like Subway. It's either Subway Surfers or Minecraft speed run. Oh yeah. Or the stupid little flash games with like, oh, I gotta go here and get this, so then I can, you know, do what I hate those so much. Yeah, but they're horrible. And that's, you know, I get sucked into that because it's, you know, it's just dumb content. But it's not.
Do you get the soap cutting ones too?
Yes, I got two of those this morning when I woke up. The first two things I saw this morning when I woke up was Brian yelling at somebody, you know, and it was just soap cutting. Right? It's like, what am I looking at?
What is soap cutting?
It sounds AI generated.
Yeah,
it doesn't sound like
they just take a bar of soap and you're just cutting it, or like they're
whittling it.
Huh?
Like they're whittling it?
Yeah, they're whittling it, yeah.
To a certain degree, yes, but they're really just cutting it up into slices or pieces.
Are they showing off knives? Are they selling something?
No. It's TikTok, dude.
No, it's supposed to
be no reason.
Yes. What that is. Yeah.
It's supposed to be more along the lines
but
of
the majority of users don't have headphones on anyway, so they're not even listening to it.
So it doesn't matter.
Dude, it's like the putty knife buckets. And it's like they put sprinkles and stuff in a bucket, and then they literally take a putty knife and they just lift it up and then they scoop it out, and it's just like they put different things in and scoop it and mix it. That's it. That's the video.
That's content these days, dude. Honestly,
dude, it reminds me of that VeggieTales, like the auto-generated art.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the when they did the robot bit.
Yeah,
right?
VeggieTales predicted not only the internet but the next 20 years of it.
Yeah,
20 years of memes. That's what they predicted, right?
Sorry, continue. I was like, I feel your pain. I feel your pain, man.
I had to know. Yeah.
So like, as we're we're spiraling on into the cosmos of the whole internet and whatever, and we're realizing that like there's a lot, there are a lot of things that are similar. Like one thing that I thought of was like I just saw a video on, it was a YouTube short. Hate those as well, by the way, just saying that.
Same
They're
thing.
the stupidest thing to ever come out of this last year. I don't know why they exist.
We do agree, but we've completely shilled.
That's
fair.
We're making shorts.
Well, good
this is going to be the short.
Good for you. Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing, though, right?
We're gonna have subtitles like right here, right? The blue and green subtitles that are stupid. You can't see them, right? That's what you're gonna.
That's what you get.
Hey, we put a lot of thought into where those go. Okay, and your girlfriend was a huge part of it.
The first few attempts were a little shaky. I was like,
I had some crotch words, and that was awkward.
I was like, I had to be looking right there to understand what's going on.
I won.
And they were strangely small.
So you had to like really get close to your phone to see them.
Right. Yeah, and
I don't know if it was representative of anything, but I was very confused by it.
Whatever.
We're off track again.
No, this is what they want you to believe.
Web rabbit hole.
Yeah.
We could only produce this with you here.
Right. And then we're gonna whoa, right? And then the camera's gonna shake, and like the wow's just gonna get bigger and smaller. That's what that whole bit's gonna be right there.
Content.
Yeah, I'm giving you content now.
I actually do have a on-topic question. We're talking about movies and stuff, and there's trends, and Hollywood puts out things, and documentaries, it is a big phase. Marvel is a big phase. You see them go up and down. You've been producing some AI art for a while, and you said that there's gallery boards or there's viewing boards where you can put your art up and stuff. Do you see that same transition, and is it like on a cyclical nature, and is it faster? Is it on par with like what everything else seems to be in terms of art and media?
Like seeing art, like seeing AI art and like galleries and stuff.
Because it's like maybe I don't know if there's like keywords or anything like that, or I don't know, just like art styles that are. I mean,
like, we got on the community that like throws they're like made with stable diffusion essentially.
Yeah,
and it went from like all this really artsy stuff,
filigree to boobs.
Yeah, as soon as it got like mainstream, it was just like half naked women, like just one after another.
But maybe more like artsy, less
for you.
naked.
It's also, I was gonna say, it's also very artsy, right?
Yeah.
My brother went to art school. He told me there was a lot of that. Yeah.
Well, I've been seeing some places putting
more than we'd like to admit, but we're not going to go there.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's been confirmed. The man works for a university. It's been confirmed.
Yeah. Well, I've been seeing some places putting restrictions on AI generated art, like DeviantArt, I think was one.
Yeah,
and there's been a lot of pushback against it.
Yeah,
that's why I run mine locally. You can't tell me what to do on my own machine.
Locally sourced AI
homegrown AI art,
non-GMO.
Oh, dude.
Never has touched the cloud.
We should tell them about our idea that we decided we're not doing, though.
Well, that was decided before we even talked about it.
Yeah.
I want to hear something from him. I don't.
Well, we'd like to get his take on this, anyways. Okay.
Oh God.
Because he's been working with AI art in general, and I believe via your voicemail that I heard today, your greeting on your voicemail, that you're doing some social media management as well. Correct?
Yes, I am. Yeah.
So, going with the AI stuff, the future of all of this.
Bless you.
The future of all of this, right? We're listening. We're all fans of Corridor. They're a VFX studio out of California.
Love them. Been watching them for years.
There we go. We knew we were
You're hired. We got a crouton.
So we just got done listening to the podcast from this week, and they were talking about how they helped do some 3D scans on a basketball player that is using his 3D likeness and essentially an AI version of himself. They're using that for all of his social media. so that he doesn't have to film anything. They're just using this essentially a video game character that is him.
Oh, that's funny. I like that.
They're posing it and doing AI with the voice, and they can
even the voice is AI.
Yeah, they can make all of these things happen in the background, right? So when all this AI stuff started going down, I mean, with those like artificial avatar type things, Tristan came in one day and he was like, what if we made one of these fake avatars, but it was a fake woman on an OnlyFans account?
So instead of like because you can make photorealism, and it's only recently within the last like couple of weeks that you can have a consistent looking person where facial
baked
features and I don't know, body style, like whatever it is that we wanted to be saved as part of that character, you could have recreated in different ways.
Right. Yeah, because like for AI for the longest time there could not do faces well. Could not. And then when it could do faces somewhat well, like if you've seen there are several I'm gonna mention the cursed app here, iFunny. Oh no! I've seen posts on there where people are doing stuff, and the models, like quote unquote models' hands, they're all jacked up, right? Yes. Like I don't think your hand's supposed to bend that way, right?
Yeah, or they have like 7 fingers.
Yeah. Right, but it's all AI stuff, and it's really difficult. It's been really difficult for AI to nail down. It's really weird because you think something being programmed by yeah, like that. And
dude, look at my hands.
It's like that.
I have 3 fingers on each hand.
Dude,
like,
bird.
It's like you'd think with it being programmed by humans that it would be better at this than it is, right?
Yeah,
but
I
it's
think
not.
So
there's and then that starts to tap in the whole uncanny valley type crap and whatnot, and that stuff's weird.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So with all of that being said, right? So like, what are your thoughts on that whole? What's happening in that realm?
Well, I think that the doing the girl on the OnlyFans, I think that'd be funny. I think we should do it. That'd be a funny social experiment, right?
So we didn't want to disclose it either. Like maybe like let it go for like a month or something, and then like then announce it. But like the idea from my perspective was like, people already do like the whole VTuber thing. Like they're creating a model. It's not a real person, but people feel attached to it.
Right.
It requires a real person to act. The question is, if you removed the real person and it was just the VTuber model or whatever, which is basically an animation of a person playing a video game or interacting with an audience on live stream. If you remove that, the only human element left, which is performing all the actions, you basically get the basketball player guy. I don't remember his name, but like he just wants to create his own social media. And I was like, well, if he's able to do that with his AI voice, 3D models and his own like likeness, it's like how much longer until they're on Instagram too, but OnlyFans, Instagram, like all these other platforms where people are generating money based solely on appearance.
The Tinder,
it's the same.
Tinder. That was a real thing too.
Yeah. All the same thing.
You're making
all the same app.
All the same app.
Well, you're making money based on your appearance.
Yeah,
that's a way to look at it.
There.
So if your appearance isn't your own, then should you be getting money? Should you not be getting money for it?
Yeah.
Is it even though it's your likeness, but it's not you, right? Yeah. Like if I couldn't reach through the photo and like touch you, I'd be touching nothing because there's nothing of you there, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's a weird concept, I think, right? It's like eventually that line is going to be blurred between what's real and what's not. I read this story the other day about this one dude that like created, he just wanted to screwed up as it sounds, he just wanted to create the ultimate woman. What he wanted, right? Exactly down to the T of like what he wanted, and he figured out how to do it, a 3D model of this fake person, and he got the bright idea to make it an Instagram, and it's blown up. And I mean, they literally hire people to come in and like, make digital products that go with her, and they do like photo shoots, and somebody comes in and like digitally does this person's makeup and hair and like poses, and
dude,
there's
it's
a whole
digi-double.
There's a whole industry around this, and this person has whatever, right? This thing has hundreds and thousands, if not millions of followers.
Right.
and they're literally like, setting up, they're getting brand deals for tens of thousands of dollars for this fake person. It's this dude that wanted to create the ultimate girl.
We had the same idea. How long have they been doing this? I had no idea
He's been doing it for a while, yeah. There's been multiple now that they've done, and there's a whole industry, right, of like digital stylists.
So then it's like, if we did that, would we have been copying his style? Would I have gone fines?
I don't know.
I didn't even know this was a thing.
And see, that's the thing too, right? Let's circle back to that. There are a lot of times where not everybody is aware of everything that's going on. There's a video I saw a little bit ago. It was Ray William Johnson.
Oh yeah,
we're all that old. We remember him.
Yeah. Was it original Ray William RWJ, or is it something more recent?
It
Equals 3.
It was like the short. It was like a recent.
Yeah.
But I remember watching the one Equals 3. That's where I found him. I like that.
Awesome. Man.
But he was talking about like how he just made a song or whatever, and it had like this particular beat, and then this this artist in India, no idea who this person is, never heard of before in his life, probably has never heard RDBJ at all ever in their life either. Same beat, same like maybe just a tad faster, same exact beat. But the thing is that like RDBJ was using the beat from a sample website, right? So it's like you can't really plan for that, right? If you're using stuff already that's not yours, right? Or like you have this this idea, right? You gotta a lot of people don't really take into account, but sometimes you kind of have to now, is that this might already be a thing.
Yeah. Or most likely it is.
Right.
If it's a thing, who was posted first, because then you get it in. As far as like claims go, it usually goes by who's on the internet first, but as far as legality goes, it's usually like if you have proof you created it prior, because that's usually happens with like machine patents or any like innovation patents,
right?
It's like as long as you have documentation yours was first, you're fine. But with the internet and everything being digital, like the process of like, I don't have a lawyer, I'm not lawyering up for this, like $5 I would have made on AdSense or something like that,
right,
or whatever. So then the precedent is like, well, they upload it first, it's theirs,
right? Or if we anything from art to products, how is mine different?
Yeah.
Or how is mine better? Right? How is mine separated? Right? What is the distinctive factor that makes mine different and or better than whatever this is over here that I may or may not have known about? If that, if push comes to shove like that, with the legalities and whatnot. Right?
Yeah. What's interesting too is that sometimes artists or inventors and creative people, they make similar things like right at the same time.
Yeah.
Like it was a real issue.
Every
freaking week.
Corridor. Every week.
Seriously.
We talk about something that they put out the exact same day, because we record on Tuesdays and usually their podcast drops on like Monday or Tuesday. We talk about the thing. None of us see the content. And then Friday when we post ours, we're like, hey, did you notice everything we talked about is like very similar in concept, or almost not even similar. Sometimes it's the exact same principle.
Yeah.
I was the other week, I was like, I stayed up till 5. I'm tired. I want to go home and play video games. I want to play Elden Ring. Same episode. Nico's like, yeah, man, I'm just really exhausted. I want to go home and play Elden Ring. I was like, I'm not copying you. And that's like kind of surface level,
debatable.
but it's like, it doesn't matter if it's video games or a video idea or a new innovation, or maybe we have a guest on and it's like, all right, they had a similar guest that week, I'm done.
Yeah.
Right.
So done.
Like even Adam was with them too.
Yeah.
He didn't even tell us.
Right.
Like even back in the 1800s, like the same invention would be invented in like 3 different places across the globe.
Yeah.
And like information travels really slowly. So there's no way this guy over in France would know what this guy all the way like Bangladesh or whatever was doing.
The only guy that got credit was the white guy.
And it's like whoever like, I don't know, got most popular first got the credit, even though they might have not been exactly the one who made it first.
Yeah.
And then the one dude would get pissed privacy and take a photo of himself pretending that he killed himself by drowning. That's literally how photography. It was Louis Daguerre, Hippolyte Bayard, and I can't remember the other dude's name, but they all three of them invented a form of like actually being able to imprint an image onto a piece of paper, right? Roughly around the same time. Bayard thought that he had done it first, but soon found out that, I think it was like a couple years prior to him, that I would want to say it was Daguerre that did it first. So he like I think what we think is the first self-portrait documented of an artist was him being petty, and he posed himself to look like he drowned himself, right?
What the heck?
Because he got mad because he thought that he was the one that did it first, right?
Dang, we've come so far.
Yeah.
The first photo was a selfie.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That's something they didn't teach me at engineering school.
I'm sure they didn't.
Wow.
They said, now if a train is traveling at 50 mile an hour down the track and,
and
Susie's trying to catch up.
They taught us about Edison and how he was stealing everybody's work and claiming it. Like he would
light bulb, hell yeah, I invented that yesterday.
Well, he would go to get the patents filed. And not everybody would get patents filed.
It's smart.
And
I'm
it's
just saying.
I'm just going to claim it as my own.
It's freaking smart.
Now, if the person had proof that they had created it first and then went to the patent office, they probably would have had it revoked or something. But the thing is, how do you prove in that era that you made it first?
Yeah, with a patent.
Well, even like
Steve.
Dang it! It's like
genius.
It's like there's no photos, right? Like he's inventing photos.
There's no photos. He made the photo. Yeah.
You're like, and even
he accidentally drowned himself in a river.
It's like you're the guy that invented photos first, and this guy's claiming he did. And you're like, well, here's proof. And like, what is it? It's like, it's a photo. It's like, what's a photo?
Do you have a photo of you taking that photo?
What is this? This is a drawing. You made this.
That's what I'm like,
Yeah, you just hired that painter down the road.
He's like, no, it's my invention. He's like, yeah, I know Edison or whatever, whoever. I was referring to the inventor. He's like, he just showed us this last week. He's like, no, I made it first.
Yeah.
Right.
Here's the stamp with the date. It's like, you could have wrote that.
Okay. I have a question for you.
Notaries.
So what is your favorite part of like photography history? Like you've got to have like a favorite story or person or something.
Oh, wow.
I know, right? We're going through the Rolodex of all that information in there. You're like,
Yeah.
For those of you children who don't know what a Rolodex is, I just dated myself.
You mean Rolex? What?
Okie dokie. I'm the oldest one in this room.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
What?
Yeah.
What? Why are you?
Why you say really?
Yeah.
All right, rattle off.
Adam said he's 24.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Tristan,
26.
right? David. Do you forget?
About to turn 26.
Stop keeping track after 21.
Yeah.
It's like, I can do it all.
I got beer.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I'm 30, so.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that's fair.
That's a lot of beer.
It shows. So literally my shirt carries a beer.
Yep.
It's a Christmas sweater.
Yeah, close to your heart right there, yeah.
Yes. That's actually where I keep a picture of my wife. No.
inside the beer cup.
Everyone collaborated with me on this one.
Cooperate.
Yeah, same thing.
It's the beer.
Yeah, what's your...
Who's the big man in your heart?
Shout out to Jimmy. That'd be Jimmy. We like Jimmy. No.
Okay. Sup, Jimmy?
Sup,
Mr.
Jimmy?
Beast.
How's it going?
Jimmy!
I miss you. Call me. No.
I miss you too.
I think my favorite tidbit about photographic history would probably be like the first image, right? Because here's the thing. 1800s, we discovered that, we can, if we mix the silver halide, put it on a thing, and put it in a gel, put on a thing like pottery or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. We can imprint the sun just onto that, right? Cool, awesome, great. But we had no way of keeping that there, right? There wasn't a fixer that was, sodium thiosulfate hadn't been discovered in that particular context to be a fixer for the photographic emulsion or whatever we were using.
So would it have faded then, or does it just disappear?
It eventually faded, yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
People would have to if they imprinted like pottery or something like that, they would have to the people would literally bury this in like barns of grain, right, all the way at the bottom, and you could only go in at like night, take it out, show people, and then you got to put it back, right? So that's how they
you want to see my pictures,
right? Yeah,
the original NFTs,
right? Because they're just like, that's all you saw, that's all you got to see, right?
Dang it, Tom, you didn't turn the light off. Blow your torch out, sorry.
So there's I cannot remember his name for the life of me, and I'm gonna get flamed by Kat later because I should know this because I love this person.
Disappointed.
But I'll find him. But there is a photograph. The first photograph, it was on a sheet of, I want to say a sheet of aluminum, and it was of a courtyard of a villa or something or other from the second story window. There's building on either side that's going out, and there's a sprawling little field out in the front. This photograph is from the 1830s, 40s-ish, somewhere in there.
Wow.
It still exists. You can still see this image. It's kept in a climate-controlled, vacuum-sealed chamber, dark chamber, in a museum in, I want to say, in Texas, if I remember correctly. And I have yet to go out and see it, but a lot of the photographers that I know, my senior level photography professor, he has gone out and seen it. So this is kind of like a Mecca type thing, right?
Yeah.
Wow. But it's so cool that, the stuff that we're doing today, right? Like, I'm able to partake in this, this science, the magic of seeing, the image come up from the latent image on a piece of paper, right? Mm-hmm. Something that somebody figured out that they could do like over, it's like 180 years now, I think, I want to say. Yeah, because we celebrated 183, I think, was the birthday of photography this year. So being able to be a part of that and to do that, right, and to see that these do indeed last, because I'm gonna get deep here for a second.
Yeah.
But I think I saw this in a Vsauce video. I like Vsauce.
Let's go Vsauce.
You die 3 times. The first time when your body obviously dies, and you. Second time is when there's the person that speaks your name for the last time, right? When your name is uttered for the last time. And third is when the last image of you is viewed, right? So
that is deep.
And so to see like all of these, looking back through all the textbooks I've ever read or all the photography books that I've ever looked at, right? Like all these people that are still there, right? That are still being remembered, that are still being talked about and said, right? And even though we don't have the person, I want to say we don't have a photo of the person who took the first photograph, but I could be wrong, but to have that still is like, this was a place and some point of time, and it's been frozen in time. And as long as we do our due diligence and keep this thing here, because it will fade away at some point. This thing will be gone forever at some point, right? Right. We can't touch it. It's because the material is so delicate. The emulsion is so delicate that even if we were to try and like fix it with modern methods, it would just wash away, right? So this is something that is going to be gone, but is really cool to still be able to see it 180 years later down the road.
Yeah.
Right?
How long do you think the Trump NFTs will last?
I'll maybe give it till the next election and then we realize that we're stupid. Gonna lie.
I don't think Grandma's gonna hold on to that NFT
nah.
forever.
She's gonna put it on the she's gonna put it on the fireplace mantle next to the photo of Obi-Wan that she thinks is Jesus Christ.
Oh
right?
yeah.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Is that like a
that.
common practice though? You mentioned that the museum or the place that the photo was held is darker. My family loves going to like museums and state parks and all these like beautiful places you can observe art, whether it's natural or man-made. I've noticed that a lot of them are kind of dark and dimly lit. Is that intentional, or is it like a mood setting, or is that like functional in terms of like, is that something people think about when they're designing these exhibits?
Photography.
That's very.
I didn't understand why. I thought it was just because you couldn't steal their art. Like, don't take a photo. Like, every camera has flash, like you mentioned earlier.
Right.
The point and shoots always had flash always on. So I assumed you just couldn't take pictures.
Yeah, no, like it is very functional because like a lot of the chemicals and a lot of the materials that were used, you know, I don't know, maybe like 1930s, 40s ish, were extremely light sensitive and very delicate. So like anything from, Nips, that's his name. Yeah, that's the first photograph.
Cool. And I'll have to flash this or something. This is really cool. Yeah. Wow. Gosh. It says 1826 or 1827.
Yeah.
Wow.
That thing old.
No joke.
Dang.
That's so cool though. Sorry, I had to look it up.
No, you're good.
So.
Yeah.
No.
But yeah, so it's very fun. So yeah, that's why they say no flash photography in a lot of museums, is because the flash can degrade. You know, like if you've seen the videos where like you'll leave like white Legos out in the sun for a really long time and they start to yellow. That's the same thing, right?
Like old computers.
Right. Yeah. Like the old like Macs or whatever, right? You know, they start to go yellow and just or whatever, right? That's light degradation. And so with photography, that a lot of old photos are very susceptible to that because just the type of material that they were printed on. You know, anything from collodions to albumin prints to, you know, really old things like tin or daguerreotypes. I've
seen stuff about that.
You know, it's not like the paper that we have today, you know, like the RC or fiber base where it's meant to be archival, right? So that's why a lot of like older works, it's even with like sculptures or pottery or whatever, like no flash because the light might react with the chemicals, and that's why they keep the lights down.
I saw it was like Technology Connections video on daguerreotypes. And they are so cool because you basically can only see the image if like you look at it straight on.
Yeah, it's like almost like a mirror, and you have to, or it's almost like a negative, right? You have to angle it a certain way because it's put on a shiny piece. I want to say you could put it on like shiny tin or whatever, polished steel or polished tin. So you have to view it at a certain angle in order to see it in its true form.
Barely etched on there, or something.
Right?
Yeah.
So because it's tin, so it's like it literally is just etched on there
like atoms.
It's
just so cool, like because you get pictures of them online like, oh, it looks great, this is a great image, but in person it sucks so bad. Because you can't, like, you have to be 100% facing it or else it's just going to have like that mirror like effect to it. I mean, it's still amazing, it's kind of like, me wrong,
kind of like an Instagram photo.
100%.
As soon as you blow that baby up,
whoa, no. Why did people like these?
It's funny because it's actually like how we kind of edit videos. We're like, we can zoom in a little bit. Like, no, it'll degrade the video. It's like, no, it's just going to Instagram or TikTok. And you can just, they won't even know on their tiny little phones.
It's true though. I mean, there's that plays in. I mean, when you know you're creating a piece of media for a specific medium, or you know, however you're going to watch it, like
there's so many, like,
you got to play towards that.
I've given in and I've watched a couple YouTube shorts now, and like the video quality of them is horrendous sometimes. It's like there's like the face is like splotchy, and like the noise and like compression is like
right.
So like 2010. It was like, what am I looking at?
It's bad. I mean, it's just like when I thought, I was like, oh, you know what? It'll be better if we take a 4K video and put it on Instagram. It'll make it look even better. And it makes it look worse.
Yeah.
It's very unfortunate.
Yeah, it's all compression, man. It sucks.
Maybe we should really go back to daguerreotypes.
So have you looked on this subject? Have you heard of Vero, the social media platform?
I don't believe so. It's not one that I have off the top of my head.
Okay, so it's very like Instagram-y, like pre-video.
Okay.
And so you can, when you post your photos, it shows your photo on the feed, but then when you tap on it, it shows the full res version of it.
Oh.
And I was like, that we've talked about it on the podcast before because it was a record. I don't remember. I'm a big fan of Peter McKinnon.
It was a clip,
and he posted this and was like, "Hey, I'm using this to post my work instead of Instagram because Instagram's gone so far away from showing your work to showing your life." And so he just wanted to be able to show his work. And
I do remember that.
It's a lot of artists on there, and the fact that you can, absolutely love the fact it's like if I can click on that image and it puts full resolution copy on my screen and I can look at this image. I think that's the coolest thing ever.
It reminds me of Flickr.
I never used it.
I mentioned Flickr, I think, when we were talking about that.
I know nothing about
it. It is like the professional, like you upload your photos and you just show off how good you are.
I feel like Flickr was less
like 500 px.
Instagram scrolling.
You ever use that? Do you use that at all, Adam? 500 px?
Not really, no. Like sizing stuff and like my photos and videos, like I really don't size a whole lot or resize. Like if I'm putting on if I'm putting stuff on like Instagram for like my photography stuff, I'm just doing I'm exporting from Lightroom, one slider's at 100, 300 ppi, exporting, and then put it into Google Drive, put that onto my phone, do the bit, put the cute little borders on it, and then I'll put it on, and then I'll put it onto Instagram. I really don't do a whole lot as far as stuff like that. I've never really noticed. I've noticed, like I will say, like with the one place you were talking about, I've noticed that I think Facebook has done this too, because like I've noticed when I've put my art on my Facebook, which I rarely ever do anymore.
Don't blame you.
It's just all old people. That's all it is. They're all old. It's a dying social media platform, and we all know this. It's
just let it die.
I did a whole essay on this in my communications class.
I don't care if you have legs in your metaverse, Zuckerberg. You need to die.
Well, I noticed when I was putting my art on Facebook, that would be like, or like, I've just like my mother's photos as well. She'll put some stuff on Facebook, and like they're always low res. I'm like, what? Did I do something wrong? Hello? And I'll go and click on it, and it'll bring up the full thing. It's like, don't know if I like that or not. That's weird. I feel like I should be able to see it without.
I agree.
Right?
I agree.
But, if that's like this whole selling point of an app, then I guess you can't really fault it. Just don't use it, I guess. I don't know.
This is true. You don't like it, don't use it. That's the beauty of it all, right?
Right. Imagine that.
So you're not afraid of digitizing your film?
Absolutely not. No.
Yeah.
There's no ghost in that image.
Yeah. It doesn't suck the soul out of you.
Nah.
So to kind of put this into like some form of perspective, and to bring I call her Catherine, to bring Kat into the picture.
I was like, wow, so formal.
Yeah, no. To bring Kat into the picture, Kat is very sentimental. Like she keeps a lot of things. She keeps, all her negatives, all her photos.
Oh wow.
Whatever, anything, even stuff that she wouldn't post on her website or Instagram or whatever. She just keeps stuff, right? Because she loves the sentimentality and the nostalgia behind stuff. I am far from that, right? I will go through my archive of photos and I will get rid of at least half every single year.
Oh wow.
Because I either don't need them anymore or I just don't like them or whatever. I'll get rid of negatives, I'll get rid of photos, I'll get rid of whatever. I'll delete stuff because I don't need it, right?
Yeah, I'm the same way.
So if I'm digitizing stuff, I have that. If I'm digitizing stuff, I'll have that. If I'm like looking at them like, okay, fine, I guess I'll keep it, right? Or I have that digital backup just in case, out of the blue, like I need this one thing for this obscure project 50 years down the road. I was like, got it, cool, awesome. My phone has kept buzzing. I'm pretty sure it's Kat trying to talk to me.
Come on, Kat, we're making a podcast.
That's okay. I can message her. Leave Adam alone.
I'm going to delay your paycheck.
No.
He's like, don't do that.
No.
None of us need that.
I don't need her to be mad at me. So
you can blame it on us.
Yeah.
So no, I'm not afraid of digitizing my stuff. I think it's a smart way to keep my stuff. Even and then some people might say, "Oh, well, you devaluing the."
Sounds like people,
right? Yeah, devaluing the original thing itself. Well, I mean. Yeah. You want me to live stream me just holding the photo up to the camera for 5 years? Is that what you want? Because that's how long my Instagram is going to be up probably before I make a new one. So, I think digitizing physical forms of art isn't that big of a deal. As long as you, because like I'll always say like, hey, this was film. This was film soup. This was whatever, right?
Yeah.
So so it's not just it's a pretty photo, right? I hate when people do that, right? It's like, especially when people are in my same field, right? And they only see stuff as like, oh, that's a pretty photo. It gets me so mad because it's like, do you understand what BS we've had to deal with for the last 180 years to get to this point?
Yeah.
And, all the crap that, we've slogged through to lift our art form up, and you're just going to take photos of cute flowers and trying to censor myself. Yeah, cute flowers.
Yeah.
Oh, you're good.
I need a beep trigger.
We got it. We can do it.
Yeah.
We got one.
Cool. You're gonna wear that out? No.
Yeah. It's okay. I'm working backwards, Adam. So you're speaking at me, but I'm learning. So I didn't go to school for photography. It was never it was never really the plan. I honestly just didn't. I didn't think that I as a person had the capacity or the ability to be creative in that way.
Really?
I had somebody last year and in basic drop out for that same reason, that they didn't think that they had the creative capacity to be good at photography. I wanted to slap them upside the head, but I couldn't because I was a faculty and they were a student. Well, I told Kat, because she was our TA that year, give yourself a chance, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
I would agree with that now.
Right. And even so, like you were talking to me about the one project that you just came back working on today. I was talking to Kat about this I think a couple of days ago. There's a difference between the artistic photography that I do and the commercial photography, right? And that's weddings, that's real estate, that's you're getting paid to go out and do a project, right? Rather than you are finding within yourself this creative drive to go out and make this set of images and display it for people to see and enjoy, and maybe you'll make money off of it, right? Maybe.
Potentially.
So there is a difference, and both have their respective communities and people that tend to go towards this style of photography rather than the artistic style, and that's completely fine, right? Yeah. But there's still a level of creativity, there's still a level of understanding. How do you compose the shot? What are you putting in the rule of thirds? How are you leading? How are you how are you creating your image, right? Whether it's for, the weird crap that I have on my Instagram, or, the really nice looking stuff that I've seen come out of y'all's Instagram and the projects that y'all have done, from what I've seen, from whatever Kat's shown me, because I got that backstage access with that.
Ooh, yes, you do. They've just delved it right into the server. I never thought about it. Just like going through images. It's like,
Kat's only showing me stuff that she's been like editing or working on, and I'm like, oh, that's cool.
Which that's a compliment too, because most of it's commercial stuff,
right?
So.
Yeah. It's still well done, right? And that's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's and then going back to the AI and how photography was like, oh well, anybody can do it, and then AI is like, well, anybody can do it. There's people that don't know how to do it and suck at it, and there's people that do what they do well. Right.
Yeah.
So, that then becomes the whole the conversation of, well, sure, I might not do what y'all do, and y'all might not do what I do, but do you do it well? And can I acknowledge that you do it well, and vice versa? Right?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So that's a whole bit in and of itself.
I get it.
Yeah.
And I think working backwards from my commercial work and getting into the more artistic side of it helped with my confidence in general.
Yeah.
So
if I could get paid to do this, surely I could make art.
Like I've had enough people call me a professional. I'm like, maybe I do know what I'm doing.
Right.
And there are those really cool like homeowners, because 90% of what I do on a day-to-day basis is shoot homes, but I've every once in a while, like, you'll run into a homeowner that's like, no, what you do is art. Like, don't downplay it, because it takes an eye, it takes knowledge of your craft, and I'm always like, yeah, I guess if you say so. And I see it more and more of that as time goes on. So it's now it feeds the knowledge that I can then take and potentially, create the image that's up here in real life.
Right.
So it's a beautiful thing.
I did want to mention that the AI, the model that does all a bunch of little things, I found the name of it. It was called DeepMind Flamingo.
DeepMind Flamingo.
So if you get bored, you want to make some art, it does all kinds of weird stuff.
I really considered for a solid like couple of months there to sell some of my stuff as NFTs, right?
Yeah.
I really thought.
I think we all thought about it.
Really did think about it.
I remember when we first talked about it. I was like, I have no idea what this is.
Was it because of Beeple for you, or what was your motivator?
I forgot about him.
I mean, I saw Logan Paul did his dumb crap, right?
Yeah.
And then he just lost like millions of dollars recently within the last couple of weeks or something like that.
It was Trump's NFTs, wasn't it?
Yeah, probably.
Oh, poor guy.
If old DT can do it, I can do it.
Yeah, I mean, see, that's to steal from anybody who knows what I'm talking about will know who I'm stealing this from. That's kind of, I think that's kind of how we're viewing presidents now. Can you move merch or can you not move merch? Trump could move some merch.
He can move some merch.
He could move
Go to
merch.
Florida.
Yeah. Bro, your ideas are so bright over here. They just killed the light source behind you.
Yeah,
no,
that's batteries.
That was a lot nicer than what I was gonna say.
I'm juicing up over here, man.
I think
sucked all the battery power out of that
that's
thing.
That's how we end the podcast.
I was gonna say, I think that's a great sign.
It might be a sign that we need to wrap up.
Yeah. So
the battery dying. That's your timer.
Yeah. You would only know this if you watched on YouTube.
Yes.
I would flick the switch
Facebook
over here to turn everything off.
Yes, we
would lose the recording.
Okay. Yeah. Watch the full on video on YouTube and Facebook. That's where we're posted now.
Yeah.
You can see all the lights go out.
Instead of going and using AI when you're bored, you should really go to Adam's social media and look at the art. I've been scrolling through somewhat I've seen it a couple times. Kat showed me some stuff.
Yeah.
And then I've scrolled through a little bit today, and then while we were talking, and the art is really freaking cool.
Yeah.
So go check it out. Like, his photography and his AI art is awesome. So where can people go to find this information?
Well, if you want to follow my photography Instagram, it's AJ Trabold Photo, AJTRABOLD PHOTO. It's very, very clever, right?
We'll provide a link.
Original.
It's almost like my
did you use AI to generate that?
Yeah. Some days it feels like it, man. Honestly.
That's why artists and marketing are two different departments.
Yes.
Yeah.
A cat was telling me that this might be, this podcast thing might be a thing for me. I'm like, I don't know how to talk about my stuff.
Oh no, you're great.
Right? Like
I think you've done a fantastic job.
It's the thing that I've hated so far about the application process for MFA programs is because I have no idea how to talk about my own stuff. I enjoy making it rather than talking about it, but it's kind of like what half of the program is me talking crap about whatever and people maybe understanding it, right? And then them giving me money for me to do more stuff.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
We feel your pain. Okay. Go follow Adam on his Instagram. We'll also link down in the bio so that you guys can easily click on that boy and go find him.
Yep.
Go give him a follow so that you can see all his stuff.
Even his empty Facebook. You go over there.
Don't go to my Facebook.
Give him a like.
I would less suggest go to the Facebook. I viewed both. Go to the Instagram.
Don't. The Facebook is just tumbleweeds at this point.
It's just to keep old grandma and grandpa up to date.
Only the real fans go there.
Oh
God,
my gosh.
I hope not.
Right? We hope you guys learned something. Thank you again, Adam, for coming on the show.
Thank you for having
This was
me.
awesome to get to break all this stuff down. This is so right in line with everything we do. I know we've all learned something, and we really appreciate your time. Thank you for coming on. So I highly doubt this is the first, but I highly doubt it's the last time we have you on.
I mean, I'm here, man. I'm here for it. This is fun.
That's what I'm saying. Next time you're in town, you'll have to come talk with us again. We'll
Yes, sir.
get real deep into that film stuff.
Yeah.
We all want to learn. So
I'll bring some of my cameras next time. We can geek out about it.
oh, that'd be cool. Awesome.
That would be cool.
I would like it.
Now you know where to go find Adam. Go find us. If you've been listening, you know where to find us. But if this is your first time, maybe go to our Instagram. We do post things there. TRIFLIX LLC. We also have a couple YouTube channels. We have the TRIFLIX Cast, the TRIFLIX Team, and the TRIFLIX Films. We're posting stuff to those at a normal-ish rate these days. So
Somehow.
we have lots of fun stuff in the pipeline as well. I'm trying to think. By the time you're listening to this, you're getting ready to enjoy your Christmas weekend. So, Merry Christmas. This is also our last episode of the year. So,
Whoa.
yeah. So, we'll see you back in 2023.
Wow.
Appreciate y'all. Bye.
Bye.
Merry Christmas.
Peace.
Happy New Year.